Welcome to Rural Rhythms. Today we're going to talk about a very delicate issue, and I'd like to say that today I'm here in defense of my father and his ways. I want us to talk about thievery or stealing, because as I understand this, there are a lot of things that us as Africans have stolen from the Europeans, cultural things basically. I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about religious expression and many things. But amongst the things that we have stolen as Africans from the Europeans, there's nothing that has been more detrimental to us than the way we view love. I think of this as an issue because how we view love and its expression determine how we deal with each other as Africans. And I believe that there are some of us who are stuck in the olden days, and rightfully so, because the olden days used to work, and the things that we were involved in the olden days were things that were building us, building communities and things like that. So I believe that there is a gap that exists now that causes a lot of breakdowns between those Africans who still hold on to the ways of our ancestors and the new African who seeks to adopt what is American, what is European. And most of us don't have a chance to survive this thing, because this new way of looking at love has infiltrated us before we could even do anything. We didn't know that it was coming, and boom, from nowhere, here it is, ready to stay. Because when we were growing up, when I was growing up, to be quite honest, there were a bunch of white people in my father's living room working tirelessly to convince me that my father didn't love my mother. Imagine that level of witchcraft that I'm talking about there. In my father's living room. And this is the reality that most of us have seen. And you know, when we were growing up, it was in an era of the bold and the beautiful. It was an era of days of our life, and we were seeing promiscuity trying to justify itself as love. And it was about expression. The world had to know whether these institutions were building the community or not. It was irrelevant. In fact, the more the people fought, the stronger the love. The "I will die for you" type of love. But we don't have that in our genes. Our ancestors didn't teach us things like that. For us, love was an expression of life. Not "I will die for you," but "I love you so much that I will give you life." Because the proof of love, Africans will tell you, is the child. So now, here we are, stuck with this thing that we have adopted, and we don't really fully understand it. Because contrary to popular belief, most Africans have come to realize that it's not enough. That this dating institution that we have adopted from the whites is far apart from what we have known from before. Because the African never looked for a woman before he knew what to do with a woman. If I was to go out looking for a woman, I had to know that I'm looking for someone that I will marry. It had nothing to do with play or just passing time or things like that. Women were not available to be played with like that. We didn't know a woman like that. We understand that this is a channel. This is divinity. This is purity. And through her, life comes. And that understanding of a woman fostered a lot. This is not something to be played with. But nowadays, our 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds are going out, jolling, dating. And the place of this dating institution in the old African way of marriage, as in love reaching towards marriage, the dating institution still stands in the middle and has no idea where it's going. Are we dating to get to marriage? Are we, what is this thing for? Because it seems as if it stands outside alone, claiming some sort of self-existence outside of the institutions that we had before. So this creates a lot of problem, a lot of hate, a lot of divorce, and things that we have seen nowadays. The majority of our women are single mothers, single parents. It's a trend. It's an in thing. And no one has really managed to examine this monster, this institution. What is it for? And if it's not helping us with the marriage issue, what is its significance? Is it right to just express love for the sake of expressing love in the context of marriage? I mean, are we just expressing love and playing? Like I said, this is in defense of my father and his ways. Because when I think about my father, I think about, oh, black queens and your daughters too. Ruler of birth, earth and death, possessors of heavens too. It is for you that they remain blue. Things like that. That pure understanding of woman, of a black woman, to can say she loved us so she made us black. Because women had their place in African culture. And it was a glorious place. Because they were the center of our love. We knew no other. Because it was not just their tale that men and boys and us too were taught to love, but they had to. I mean, my father would talk about a woman so beautiful, with that type of beauty that you can eat. I mean, this is a mystery. This is gorgeous. And this is worth thinking about. Let us think about this. What is dating for? What is it helping us? The European expression of love. Because nowadays we have a bunch of township boys going around looking for women and they have no idea what to do with women. And they end up being slaves because they go from one to the other and they don't have enough in them to arouse that scary thing about a woman. She can build a world and she can tear it apart.